A warm welcome to all of you. So this is a significant exhibition for us at Dakshina Chitra because it is a historicizing look at our collections, and so it's always welcome and interesting and very insightful to have somebody from outside with such knowledge and with a keen eye to look at our collections. So I'm glad to invite all of you to looking southwards, which really contextualizes a broad range of our collections, modern and contemporary art, and a range of our craft, as we shall see. I'd like to introduce our Chief Curator, Shruti Patsarthi. Shruti is a writer, art historian, arts editor and researcher of South Asian modern and contemporary art. She's interested in its multiple contested modernities. Shruti has worked extensively at art galleries in both in Delhi. She has recently curated an exhibition on the body called the Udal, which might be still on at the Alliance Francaise. Shruti is the editor of a volume on the Indian art critic K.B. Goel's writings. K.B. Goel, Critical Writing on Asia, published by SSAF Tulika in 2020. Among her writings is the extensive essay on the influential 1960s Indian avant-garde art collective, Group 1890, The Journey of a Moment by DAG in 2016, and there's a forthcoming monograph on the Indian abstract painter, the late Ram Kumar. So we're really delighted and happy that Shruti agreed to our invitation, and I think what you will see is a very unusual, different way of looking and seeing the interconnections. I'll have Debbie say a few words, and then we'll have the inauguration, and Shruti is going to do a walkthrough, and Shruti will also say a few words. Debbie.
I'm just delighted that we have our collection up. I'd like to congratulate Shruti. I think she's done a very creative way of looking at the art and putting it all together. And I look forward to her walkthrough. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll have to say the walkthrough, such as it will be, we're slightly flying by the seat of our pants. We're just finishing the exhibition as it's opening, putting it together. Before, a few words before I talk about the show itself, I really want to thank the Dakshina Chitra team. So I would like, of course, starting with yourself, Anita, and the other Anita, who is Anita Yogeshwari, who's likely the be-all of Dakshina Chitra. This is very important that I get everyone's names in. There's Ritvik Ganguly, who is the head of collections and handles programming. Amir, who's the conservator-in-chief and has helped hugely. Tara, of course, who handles publicity. The large team of young colleagues who are working with Dakshina Chitra for a period. Murli, who's very, very important, without whom it wouldn't be possible. Huge thanks. This has been very, very quickly done. It's been very intense, certainly. The team is witness. It's a very large collection, and my intention was to actually trawl through it all, literally we didn't see the archives, but the works itself. Thank you also to Indu, the librarian. And then to my great surprise, I found you had, Dakshina Chitra is known for your whole focus on craft, on cultural heritage of South India. And then when I saw that the modern and contemporary collection, which is what Anita actually invited me to look through, and I thought maybe it's a small part, maybe Madras art movement, but it is extensive, and it's really, it kind of spans time, also region. And so what this exhibition has become is, I felt this was hugely needed. It's a major institution for South India to be a regional museum or have a certain regional focus. But what might it mean to be a living museum is one. And how has a museum like this even come together? How do these collections happen? So those are some of my interests, which I'm hoping reflects in the works chosen. And so what you will see is, I don't want to use the word mix, but modern and contemporary alongside what we might call traditional art practices, what we might, what are written off as craft, the great, both contemporaneity of traditional art, but also vibrancy of both, and very importantly, how contemporary artists have actually always looked to tradition. Some artists more consciously, and in other ways. And so this can be a dialogue, and to both present the museum's collection, the diversity, but also for us to think about how things might speak to each other. And so you have a great focus on artists from South India, within that Tamil Nadu, and a good preponderance of artists from the modernists, from the Madras art movement, but also many important contemporaries, artists that have today become big names. So it's a really interesting thing to also look at the journey. If you have works here of many Tamil contemporaries today from 2006, 2007, which have come from specific artist camps, which were held here. And then you can, of course, see their trajectory later. But having their works here signposts it, and the kinds of directions some of the regional art was going in. With that, I will include, so it doesn't get so boring that, Mr. Nambiar. No, I think, are you having you say some words?
Oh, we are so glad that you were able to curate such a show. We've been meaning to curate such a show, but it's never happened before. Anyway, it's wonderful, but I look forward to your walkthrough. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'd like to invite Debbie to light the lamp and inaugurate the exhibition. Yeah.
Everyone else come and light? Please think of it as the beginning of the curatorial walk, that of the idea of the exhibition itself. And so what you will see from the beginning is modern and contemporary placed alongside and hopefully in dialogue with art that you can consider traditional craft practices. So I will do kind of move through this space as it's been displayed. So we open with Veera Santanam, an important Madras art movement artist of the slightly second generation, so to speak. This is a really remarkable pen and ink work. You can see for the quality of the work. The themes can also be related to the slavery protest and other things happening, but also line was extraordinarily important to the Madras art movement, what happened with modernism from Pandikar onward. And you see that repeatedly in the artists from Madras, and some people know this. At Veera Santanam, this is G. Raman, an artist who does use mythological, traditional episodes, stories. But also, this is something he's known for, the way this is with this texturing, which is almost textile-like, the background. And this is actually performers, right? Concoins, yes. And that's is it a dress? And this one is, another one. So both of these are another one of this. And musically, I think musicians have been, he has explored a lot. And we move to, this is a suite of works that you are all already, I'm sure, familiar with. Certainly the Dakshin Chitra theme, this Mr. Paraniappa is a small fraction of a large suite of works which were featured here as part of his retrospective, and then I think has been generously donated. This is very quickly on this, both the artist, Paraniappa is a phenomenally interesting artist, just in Indian modernism. You really haven't had very many people who were not only not really kind of so-called responding to the seen world. He's much more interested in ideas of flight, of space, and so what I think triggered, which he has spoken of many times, is in flight, a bird's kind of eye view or an aerial perspective, and what does then the earth look like. But thinking of that has made him think of ideas of space, of freedom. And then also moves to very metaphysical angles, existential, also looking at philosophy. So what might just seem to be like very vague line drawings, with very obscure, very complex. I dare say only he can understand what this set of works is about. But there are markers, and memory is also very interesting and important for him. So he grew up, I won't take too much time, but he grew up on war films. This is very well known about him, the World War II cinema. And this is the Reichstag building, if you can see, it's right in the center of the parliament. And this gets bombed in all those images of Dresden and Berlin. And he visited this in 1999 in Berlin. And for him it was about remembering, the very vivid memory of those bombed out locales, landmarks, and to see it reconstructed. And it was also being reconstructed because it was just after the, 10 years after the Berlin Wall had been rebuilt. So this series of works, this is the second suite that came from walking through it, and his own kind of spatially, moving through a space that you think you know well, even though you've never been there. And then each is time-stamped. So he takes photographs of the street and it evokes something in him, and that's where the drawing comes from. So if you see, there will be a timestamp as well. So we have used, after of course, check with the artist in chronological order, because time is very key to him in a literal sense also. He's marking time. And so what time automatically also therefore brings is ideas of both mortality, time as moving, how do you move through space and make sense of time. It's very metaphysical. And Panidippan is here as an interesting kind of bridge, because he can be seen as a late Madras art movement artist, as at least a legatee, so to speak. These people before him. And so following him is two works. One, of course, Sultan Ali, the great J. Sultan Ali teacher and one of the founder members of the Cholamandal Artist Collective. And this is S.G. Vasudev, an early work. It's actually from 63. Vasudev was one of the youngest members then. He was then still a student of Panikkars and invited. So this is a figurative work. It's a bit of mithuna. It's a charcoal or pencil, I think. It's a pen, it's a pencil. And that's a remarkable Sultan Ali. Very much in Sultan Ali style. Really lovely, fine detailing, form. Then we have all these key artists. Alfonso Arelas, very, very important for us. Again, the movements artist. This is the Lotus Pond series that many of you might have seen works before. So I was very happy to see that Shilpa had the work from this series. This is Venkatapati who did this. This thing of woman and bird is also a combination. You see a lot this work. The form is done, the drawing on what they call it is a present form. And the Madras artist developed a lot of tradition, Tantra, concentration art. A.P. Santanraj, an early teacher figure, was the same age as Pandita Ramanujan. Did this female form a lot, that some of us care for and some of us don't, but it's certainly absolutely important. But again, what is really something all the students would also talk about is the attention to line and to contouring, which these artists then, students then learn. Two other important artists. Douglas is technically the youngest of the Cholamandal artists, because one of the last to join. Bhaskar was also very young, but he was treated as a founder member. He was there at 66 at inception. Douglas joins later. This is Adhira Pandyan, who's not a member of the collective per se, but certainly treated as part of Madras movement. Abstractionist, this is something, this is pretty much what most of his works have been like. Douglas is many of you know, I can say, I said more about Douglas than Douglas, so I pause, stop it. Just that this is one kind of work. He moves through a lot of, just complete destruction of paper, very tactile use of material. But I don't want to say angst, but certainly the self is really explored. You see that a lot in Douglas's works. And I don't remember what period this is. We don't have a date. It's nothing to figure. But seems relatively early, maybe 80s or 70s. I wouldn't say it's after 90s. Would This is after
I thought
90s.
there was something up there that we can't.
No, it might just be a bit high. This is Suryamurthy, again, one of the major artists known in this region. And when I was talking about artists in this Madras in particular who do a lot of musician, he would be one of them. Whether it's the almanac, this whole, which is something even Panikar spoke a lot about. There's a way of drawing using text, using imagery, using seated deities. It's a meditating deity with all the chakras shown. And this kind of figuration, and he did a lot. I mean, not just within this kind of context, often very secular images, also very erotic images. This would be quite a typical Suryamurthy, one would say. It's quite identical, helps you identify. And this is a complete surprise, Hakusha. I am yet to check with how his works come to be in this exhibition. There are 3 works at the collection.
He was a resource person for 10 days and painted while he was here.
They made it here.
He painted this year.
My goodness. You already look up Hakusha, he's mainly a sculptor, terracotta. Very well known for working with Stella Parrish. He had documented a great deal of folk art and all of that stuff that's now sitting in where was Stella Parrish?
She was at the University of Pennsylvania.
Oh,
She was in Calcutta before.
No, the human collection is one, which is put it in the museum, right?
In the Philadelphia Art Museum.
Philadelphia, yeah. So he was very important in helping document that collection. So you have this modernist who is not from the region, but there's also a very interesting conversation with him. Because he's older, so he'll be much more the age of have done that. And then so you have an artist that's coming to Madras. But then the fact that he's coming to Madras and he's making this, then again it's due to the institution's presence. So my interest is, it's absolutely non-hagiographical because I can assure you I won't do it. Therefore, it's to genuinely ask how do we understand a regional museum, an institution that says this is the focus, and then ask all these questions now how do connections actually come to be when there are constraints of funding. It's not like, it's not in the state that funds it. How are those decisions made? And then from many different people present, you see this very diverse collection, which you can all draw on to actually think of different things. It's more like a cross-section and you take all the works. Benita Garcia, extremely lovely, vibrant, and very important Madras-based contemporary artist. And this is such an early work. This was also in the 2006 seems to have had an artist here that has produced a large number of works in the collection. And they will have 2 other stages, 2009 and 11 and 13. This is one of 2 works. You can come and see the use of medium. It's just medium. There's a figure and Benita exploring the self. Really lovely work. We have covered that video. This is Master Ravi Khan. I was very surprised to see the work by this artist. Much more recent, this would be maybe 10 years or so old. This is 2013. And he kind of mocks royal figures. So this with the cap, the way you see it, you can recognize it. Are these, they are either the Raos of the Holkars of Indore or the other Raos of Baroda. But royal figures and but placed often some kind of conversation, some motive, something, and a kind of mockery. Because traditionally the royal portrait was of course one to Sanam. But very wonderful, clearly can draw the figure with well and beautifully done work. This of course is a lovely Vijayawada ceremony. Someone who is not familiar with it, look up his work. This is of course a woodcut, but he also works with the blocks themselves, which he presents as artworks, which most artists don't. The block is going to take a print off, and then you have a print numbered edition, right, in a woodcut. This is absolute delight of the discovery, and I would urge all of you who have access to the collection in-house team to look more at, I actually invited you to speak on this. These are works by Rajendran, who was an artist from the Hindu library, and how these works
unlike, the other Adivasi paintings that we know, and then could there be one? And so I think the provided art material. Am I right? Would you like to say something on this? There was provided art material, and then from that, and the artists that just made things, made drawings and paintings. Rajendra seems to have been the most prolific. And also, you can really see there's such imagination. It's not just in how you're seeing a lot of this need.
And when people said there was no visual tradition in South India, he said, I have to question that. So he asked in the little tribal from the crocodile banks, take me to a village that doesn't have any bus transport, that doesn't have any access to schools. And he went to this village once a week, and first of all, he brought papers and pencils and crayons. And he said, anybody wants to draw. And then he started saying, okay, anyone who wants to draw, I'll give you 5 rupees per painting. And then he said 10 rupees. And each week, fewer and fewer people came to draw. And then at the end, there were 2 men who were very interested in drawing. Rajendra was one of them. I can't remember the name of the other one. And he told them, he said, just draw from your life. What is it in your life that you see? And then he took Rajendra, this other man, to the main paint store on Mount Road. He said, whatever colors you want, whatever types of paint you want, you choose. Because it's up to you. And of course they chose bright acrylic colors. And then he started paying Rajendra for his paintings. And he's done quite a few actually. Then he didn't have any money, except he was drinking his money. So we hired him here as a watchman. But he then was drinking. And in the very sad end, he was drunk and he fell down and he did not hear his village. And he hit his head on the rock. And he died. And that was the end of a very budding artist. But it just goes to show you, if you give people the opportunity to express their creativity, they will express it. They will find that something within them comes out. I think all of us have some sort of creative streak. Which year was this? Oh, many years ago. Well, it was before the Swedish exhibition.
For Boras.
Yeah, before Boras. So it must have been 85 years before that. Yeah.
In Czech, I have the Boras exhibition, so
Yeah, we saw it from folk artists we brought. As we was for that exhibition, it was brought from the shop. And we asked Apu if he would be like an intermediary. We brought in contemporary artists like Shantana and Benita, all these people. And we brought in tribal artists. So we asked him if he would be a mediator between the tribals and the contemporary artists. And that's what he did. He kept saying, every day you have to document this, whatever they say, document this. So he did.
Thank you. And Ashish did work a lot with tribal on one hand, practice and on the other as well. I'm going to take you from here and stop and then move back. So, because what would be good is if you did go in and came back out. So you have more contemporary artists here. I will just mention Jahangir Jani, who's a fairly important artist today, completely self-taught. And interesting that he was a made 2 words. You can see a lot of there's a figure, there's an animal, also a peacock, very nice light drawings. This is a remarkably large work. And then I want to we'll come to those. Actually, I would love to, I don't want to go past Natesh not mentioning. This is M. Natesh, very quirky, slightly crazy, also erotic works that he was known for. Do come and see just the flair and ease of the line are absolutely. I mean, it looks almost like this will be one sitting. This is not some artists make preparatory drawings and then paint and then so on, you can see it. And then you can see when an artist just loves a line. It clearly must have been one of those. And I was just at the library recently, a few days ago, and he's the camera writer, the song is son. Unfortunately, no more, but really, really love the words. Southern artist again, Chennai artist, but I will bring you back. And ideally, my mistake. I want to draw your attention to party and the performance. Poets would take a box alongside, and along with them, you go place to place, you tell stories, songs, and then you pack it up, you move further. Except this has a daily, so it's also there would probably be a ritual votive element. I can't imagine they would take out the daily and not pray. Probably begin the prayer. And the stories are probably again Dev Purana or something, which are much more Sanskritic, but they will be more regional, I don't know the date is called. She's certainly not going to be another Sanskritic classics or names that we have in stories. But just with what survives of this, and this would be an early 20th century, if no later than mid, and this will be like preponderance of these to the late 90s. And to see how just what survives, you can see the color, there's the film. They would not use a tempera like background for that lovely red bottle, and using that, and here of course she's still like a Durga with multi-arms. And this kind of checked saree is very much an Andhra, Telangana, which you see the lot, which you see in the Devi also, in her own saree. There's this checked pattern there, which is not a Madras check, but we are close. And all kinds of things happening in the story. So it's a fascinating object, and if you really check will not really see it. You can see the state of disrepair, of course, it's very hard to preserve and conserve such objects.
It is considered with thrice.
Yes, and for instance, the bolts are with stitching on the side. So therefore the work here, why it's here in the sense that if you put Suryamoorthy might do a KD, might make the neo-Tantric artists who are in Cholamandal all looked to the same visual traditions, but also ritual practice, which may not be visual equivalent, but you draw on those. But essentially it's about story and narrative, which is very, very big. It's very much very lovely balance. And then I'm actually trying to draw your attention maybe to this. This is from the Tolgobalata, the Telugu leather puppetry tradition. This is actually a story panel, and coming from the book, different parts of the book instead of going necessarily chronologically. This next way you see a Rama, you see our puppets here. We went to great lengths to have this in, so we'd like you to see it, hoping that more of the puppet is visible than that light. And so this, you can see the amazing, just the imagination of Rama. So there he is, sighting his arrows. So the Rama and Sita that would have been used in a puppetry, a narrative, a puppet show. But this is shadow puppetry. So you're going to project light, and you have a screen, and the puppets are just inside the screen. And you are doing this here a lot. So this is really, the Dakshini Chitra team needs no introduction to shadow puppetry, but for anyone else, this is a phenomenal, very surviving art actually in most of Rayalaseema and Andhra. Perhaps more in Telangana, I'm not sure, but certainly Andhra and Rayalaseema is almost gone. Major source of entertainment before you had the modern ones. From here as you come in, you're going to see some Adivasi painting, and these are some noted names. You have Ram Singh Ubedi, who was a gold painter. You have Devi Balu, the very well-known wheel painter. And this is a Varli painting, but it's a very contemporary painting also. This one is actually called Globalization, and I will leave you to look through it carefully and you will see why. Very clear references to mining, wild spirit that is happening alongside, and also what an imagination with this circularity. Everything connects back to again grave, to all those pots, to water, the centrality of. So the idea that an Adivasi painter is not somehow contemporary is laughable, right? Just commenting on life as they see it. And so these are shown alongside, this is an early Santal painting, and that's a Patachitra on paper. Might be, I think, mid-20th century. This is the mid also.
Yeah.
And that's a story of Manasa, the snake goddess. So all her episode, etc. is across the panels and the rooms. And these are placed alongside this incredible Kalamkari work. Again, this early work would be early 20th century, but at this point a century old. Kalamkari, of course, continues to be really practiced very, very much, with newer motives and embroidery. The idea of how fabric is not being placed and then you have contour stitch is kind of the artist seems to be exploring that. Because your forms on paper are very different than if you want to place cloth and do it. There's such an interest in textile fabrics. This is one of those artists who's interested, and therefore this illusion. This is very special to have found. This is an artist from a weavers community, Chandra Mokonda, traditional weaver community in Andhra. And these two works, it's called Weavers Colony, and it features a man and a woman as sort of representative, I suppose. And alongside you seeing the weaver colony, so you have all the work that happens. So this kind of drawing on your own life, what you see around you. And also the tentativeness that for an artist with the background, this makes for, can this be a subject of modern art or contemporary art? And therefore they are kind of together with textile. To be able to think of a traditional way of, working with textile to contemporary artists who are interested in fabric and textile, and a huge number of contemporary artists who are interested in textile itself today. These sets of works, to think of works that are not just painterly but almost sculptural, this interest in texture, in, if you look at this work here, it's wood, but then there is a lot of sand and the terracotta with multiple mediums to create different textures. And to break that, they seem to break this idea of what might be sculptural. Is it a wall installation? Is it a painting? Same here, with this thing in substantial relief. This work, I don't know the artist, but very, very fine line drawing which kind of built up with little strokes. It's almost pointillist, but a very, I don't think it's Kathakali, but it's certainly a Yakshagana kind of face. It's Terracotta. Oh, it's Terracotta. That's what it is. So Terracotta is here then. It's our and Devaswamy, who's is a Madurai-based artist. So this idea of mosaic, again playing with texture, bringing things together, as opposed to just a painting, which is essentially flat pigment on canvas or paper, or whatever the substrate may be. This is also an early work 2006 from that same workshop. This is Sajita Shankar, and this work is called Shurpanakha, so you can clearly see the Shurpanakha story reference. But of course, the moment we put this here, I'm sure many of you noticed, at least those of us who did, began to laugh because there's Sita, and then there's Rama, and Rama is directing his arrows at Shurpanakha, which is exactly what happened. And she looks also like she's kind of goading him on. And
This is also the Ramayana.
And this is of course the Ramayana. So, but Shurpanakha is such a terrible story, and they're full of these kind of terrible injustices. And so it's interesting that we can work together. So again, a contemporary artist is not just going to respond to contemporary life, but to draw on myth, on epic. In the middle, all around you, in front of you, are really extraordinary terracotta sculptures by the sculptor Mukaya, who's a painter and a sculptor. You can just incredible molding of form with just baby terracotta. For instance, you have hollowed out forms, and there's so much happening which isn't just necessarily celebrated. You have these sorts of drums and singing and dancing. There's a whole lot else which is very much clearly protest, and you see that mother and child both on heritage. And then there's a king who looks almost like this spot there. This is so interesting what you can explore with this kind of medium. One of my favorites is this work. You can see this whole land underneath. I'm afraid you can only see it from a distance. See the minute figures that are carved all along the plinth. And this is something you will see also together here, because this is Kasla, this is what I was just trying to learn more about this story. This is called Kirata Arjuna, which is the story, Shiva and Arjuna fight, and then it comes as a war, and there's a demon, and this is a rendition of that. This is Bodhisattva who does a lot with Buddhism. So very interested in Buddhism. And as you turn here, there are some Teyyam heads, which are really fascinating. When I came across them, that museum has a large collection. Teyyam, as you presumably everyone does know, but if you don't, it's part of the southern Karnataka, northern Kerala, the whole the Bhuta culture, which is the spirit worship, spirit possession, and where the performer becomes an oracle and is heavily ornamented and dressed and is kind of channeling the animals to God. But it's also a conversation between the audience that's present, because you're often asking questions and this and that we solve. But the really, really detailed, intense makeup that's done is kind of recreated from this contemporary set of heads, which now the fact that it's very interesting that what happens to ritual. But there's one aspect where if you were to take an actual Teyyam object, like you have here in your Karnataka houses where you like the Bhuta plate, and you display them as there's a good sense of yes, this is a ritual object. It has meaning. It's a live practice, and you are showing it in a museum. So yes, right now you're going to see it as a secular object, and yet it's displayed with a certain, I would say at least, not a reverence, but there is an acknowledgement that this is the context of the object. What's happening elsewhere in most museums is the object is simply displayed as another art object, completely devoid of its ritual significance. It's a continued conversation for museumizing the object. But this is kind of really places a new kind of something to think about, because these objects are now being made to be sold as decor. You can buy it and just display it in your house. But each of the face painting means, it's like in Kathakali, the way a face is painted is a different character. Someone's a demon, someone's a good guy, there are mediators, there's all kinds of things happening. There's a purpose and context. How do you think about objects? So a way to initiate that, for this inclusion. And as you come here, you have some lovely, absolutely lovely Tanjore paintings, very old. This is a more traditional work, by very old, of course, 100, 20 years, no later than 19. Known for the use of everyone here is familiar with Tanjore paintings. This is a much more traditional Tanjore painting in the Krishnais. This is and so is this. And these are reverse glass paintings, if some of you are not familiar. This is very interesting because now it's on paper, but you have all of this beaten, this repose beaten metal work which you see here, in this, which would often be gold in most traditional Tanjore paintings. This is by Mr. Narendra Babu, and he's I'd like to invite him to maybe speak on it. And while the artist comes, so traditional art again, this is like a contemporary artist of this very detailed facade of a Chettinad house. And you can just comment with the attention. So would you like to speak of this work since you've done more than one of this? What did this one? Yeah. song?
Maybe 15 years back, when I was in service in Viva Service Center, that time I went Chettinad houses nearby villages. Really, I inspired like anything. Then I made, I think so, 40 drawings I made.
And you will see, but
40 drawings I made. But I have some of
pictures of sarees.
And yes, because only the center section.
But unfortunately, I thought Dakshintara having a lot of big works also.
I know.
I am busy, just I'm...
You can take me, sir. Or you can take Darshan Chitra, look at the size of the legs.
Actually, they have interesting work also. I made some mixed
Indeed,
media. Yeah.
And it's a great...
So that I came interesting here, but I really
Oh, my.
fed up with this.
You've even done a lot of those textile patterns that also used in homes.
But of course, I made some of the which works in acrylic content.
Correct. The team will wear me out that this was actually, oh dear, I can't fit
I'm
what to
searching
do.
for that kind of thing. But just
Well,
I
in Jalapati,
Yeah.
show and just
Really, I would-
show this work.
in Tamil, you know, God is in some car over there. Sunday I am doing big huge 6 foot by 6 foot like that. And also last month I had a show in Melbourne. Good response. Yeah.
So here also just to create some kind of dialogue between more traditional art, there are woodcuts and Tanjore paintings, and then
Yeah.
here you are looking not at the Tanjore region,
But
but
it is actually
they get pulled out and individually framed, and they were meant to be part of Mysore. So if you turn them over, there is a run-on script. It's part of either a religious text or of some kind of a visiting of like a pilgrimage thing when you go to different places. So these are very interesting. You have secular and religious images. You have Shiva worship, but you also have the Agastya. This is Sage Agastya, who's supposed to. It's a totally Tamil story. You really don't have it, even though it's a Sanskrit thing. The Sage Agastya is very much from the Puranic tradition, but you don't have the story in the north of India at all. That he drinks from the ocean, and so you have all these fish going into his mouth, and he's coming for balance or something. No, he does that because there are these demons hiding in the ocean, and they come, the gods come and, or Indra, that's typically his job. He does nothing, he just goes to other people and says, you do this, you do that. So he asks Agastya apparently, and so that's this depiction. He drinks up the ocean, and then once his seabed is dry, then they find the demons and people. But what's very interesting is this demon-like figure here who's a Shaivite, who's also drinking up the ocean. And you see all these fish going into his mouth. And then you have the other interesting thing, you have this, the Shaivite king, but with attendants, and you have an agricultural scene, and there's another hunter there. This is really fascinating. There's a waterfall, and he's just got a spear in his work. He just quickly actually spears a fish. I mean, amazing hunting. But so interesting, these kinds of subjects that we're interested in. That these artists were, it's not just they were drawing, these were commercial prints that were made for publications. So you were either illustrating a story, or maybe, like I said, it could be a booklet or something, going on a pilgrimage. What determines the choice of stories is images. This is interesting. But that aside, what is absolutely fascinating is how the rendering happens. Just see how the form is, what all is done in the imagery. In the composition, sorry. Ben Young, I'm not sure whether Rupashri is still a practicing artist. This is Shantamani, I think also from Bangalore. Just to show a range of some of the contemporary paintings on the wave in the collection. This is actually a Swedish artist, so there were also some foreign artists that they were invited for artist camps. So these are kinds of conversations down the way we can, think of how and why how did these works even arise? How did a non-Indian artist be invited? Not like it isn't like it would be Print Biennale recent, but not like a Saturday Biennale. Those were still happening. All in other regions, which were very artist-centric. Baroda, Delhi, certainly Calcutta. In distant Dakshin Chitra. So, and it's seen as such a regional institution interested only in regional craft. But there is, you can see, a wealth of contemporary artists. This is my personal new discovery. I had absolutely no idea. I didn't know anything about this artist. I saw this at Geography. So some of you know more. Artist from Madurai, really lovely thing. Collage, so playful and fun. All these different references. Even this, the Swedish artist Ocean, so this is Digital Boy, a 21st century Digital Boy. It's old, it's also from that same period, 2006. The kinds of things everybody was, all our anxieties, which today to you all would feel a bit laughable. When most of the analog devices were going, there was only dial-up internet. Even in 2006, I think, we had just begun to work the first mobile phones. And then, so this artist talking about it. This is quite a delightful work. This is a Hyderabad-based artist. But anyone who's not read this, well, it's just our own team here. So this is Rajnikant. I was going to say, if you can guess, this is on glass, so it's quite remarkable. There is a long tradition of reverse glass painting, as you saw in Tanjore. You also see it in a lot of, not Tanjore paintings, but you see them in these religious paintings, Vishnus on glass. Very tricky to paint reverse on glass because you're reversing the image. It's going to be very, very shiny. Not all pigments will work, there are concentrations. This is quite fun and cheeky. It says, I'm no less than Rajni. This whole like that guy's stance and so this is Manish Modi, actually very interesting contemporary artist today, and what is very interesting, the reason I included, I wanted at least one of his works, there are two in the collection, is that he began, this is a period that records what he began with, which was he would use newspapers, literally would actually use newspapers particularly in his paintings. It's a Gujarati newspaper and wrapped around a bottle. So it instantly makes you think of prohibition and drying. There's a whole lot of writing, and then he's moved to news but not using the newspaper as image. But he continues, this is a bit of it's his source / obsession, whatever you call it. Akhilesh, these are serials, but Akhilesh is now becoming an important contemporary artist. And so it's interesting that signposts different times. People were here, 2013 you had a artist camp, I think. A lot of work seemed to come then, 2006, 2009, is when you had Lakshmas and works like that. Again, a group of more Tamil artists. So this is K. Yuvaraj. This is, it looks like it could be referencing COVID, that full migration period, but it predates that. It's certainly a mother and a child, and it is very much a Tamil scene as well, and a child. But the fact that what we saw during COVID is obviously just it's something that has always happened. People are home and have to carry it. This is Manetu Ramu, and this is a book that's actually called Lockdown. About lockdown. Quite you can see all the animals are wearing masks, and I thought it was so hilarious. I don't know how you have this work. So the other things I was saying, one is artist camp, but also a lot of books have been acquired. Like actually bought. He did. So one way, of course, will be when artists did solos. Right? This is Cynthia Prabhakar, who's also Chennai-based, just the quality of the works is quite remarkable. And that even these were happening in artist camps, artists are clearly taking their opportunity very seriously. They gave you time and gave you material to what you paint. And we end with, of course, very well-known Shailesh. We have a lot of works of people now, and they also have 2009. I'm not sure how they these were quiet. Some are early. Perumal was a major one of the Madras art movement. Trained at the College of Finance, trained at the Vanikar, Satyan Raj, these people, I think it's really in the and alongside Bopaya, but made a painter, was Chennai-based. They were related, correct. They trained exactly alongside the cousins. And Perumal is very interesting in continually returning to seeds from narrative, the source of Tamil childhood. And he's from India, so Southern Tamil Nadu, the kinds of collective practices. You have festivals, you have religious practices. So this Karagam, for instance, these kinds of festivals he remembered, even being part of trances as a child, like completely being in a trance and losing his mind. But then he also later in life moved to Christianity, so you have equally Christian themes and Hindu themes. But also very social things like the work right in front. I mean, you have this, of course, which is a street performer. This could be an urban, it could be Chennai. But that group in front is quite remarkable for its village franchise.
Yeah. All those who didn't come to our show at Madrasa at weekend, please spend some time with the first image.
This is just
amazingly striking.
And he also in his work, I mean, everything that happens in a village. So it's not all the fun, hunky-dory, celebratory things only. This is a panchayat, and you can see this man falling at the feet of the punch says here for the head. Perumal, very interesting and important. Also, you rarely see people who are doing down to skin coloring. It's very much looking at southern Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu as a source of his work. So to hopefully all of this being in conversation, and that's the. And so look southwards where, therefore, has your own vision and emphasis.
Thank you very much. So this gives you an idea, right? When all of you are planning your own exhibitions, right? So this is sort of I would say critical look, but just an exploratory look at what Dakshin Chitra has and what are the kind of conversations that are possible between the various collections. And so, for example, for me, this one artwork itself can generate a PhD thesis. It is just generate a paper because it is just so remarkable in capturing a kind of brutality of rural life.
You can see the power hierarchy. It's clearly cast in
and then last time we just counted the number of children in the scene. So, what is it about Perumal that made him do this? Was something like this that made him
saw this all the
to
time.
Christianity? Did he find sort of love and comfort? So this is just, so when you are all thinking of your own exhibitions, it's lovely if you can sort of go deeper and give us insights that we did not know. So what Shruti has done is really brought various elements and given us lots of ways to look at our own collection. So when you guys do this in April, looking forward to the same. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Shruti.
And that is we can talk about one painting for long, moving from one to another can just about say, okay, this is why so and so, that was the But Perumal is very interesting. You see it at first, there is a sense, and I'll tell you also in a very critical way. He was seen originally as somebody who couldn't draw. Why would you draw these stick-like arms and legs? And after a point, and you can see in some of the other works that he doesn't always do that. So, and also, if you see early art school drawings, he's very much somebody who could draw. So artists, that means, arrive at what becomes their style. They choose something. And often the subject determines or chooses for you what works. And this whole thing of the power hierarchies, the differences, and what he saw, he would have been one of the people at the receiving end. I mean, we know what's happening clearly. If it's a panchayat and the sarpanchs are calling, it's obviously, this whole dehumanizing of a person that they have to do this whole falling at the feet. And this typically happened, even in that Anish movie, they had this scene where that's the way you have to
real life,
seek forgiveness.
all
This is
over.
very strong.
The car panchayats are still alive and kicking.
No, but Tamil Nadu, one must hold a mirror to our the caste and the weights in force and the silos are maintained. And a lot of that, so what can art do? What does an artist do? Those are the kind of questions that animates for me, I'll tell you when I'm doing. So that's what would be very interesting. Beyond, you have to of course look at form, what is somebody doing with color, form, surface, texture, contour, volume, space, all of that, which is the pictorial, right? But they're drawing on life and how do they. Whilst you don't impute more, it's tempting to, like you can read a story into this. This is a fascinating painting behind you. You can speculate. So maybe it's about 5 or 6 of these things. But what I can definitely tell you is just see how he's using light. He's literally using the sense of light that's kind of bouncing off a reflection. And it's already, I can imagine, with the dark legs and exaggerated inside of the student mind that walk around. But it's night time and there's fireflies and it's fascinating, but and if he's just using 2 or 3 tones, it's almost entirely different. So you could do anything. You could do an exhibition of color, which could just be about just see how each artist has. So since you want to start on this,